All right, to those of you who just joined, thank you very much for coming to the GSoC 2024 Lightning Talks. We will kick off the talks in about 1 minute. We're just waiting for a few more people to trickle in. But yeah, stay tuned. All right, welcome everyone to the 2024 GSoC Lightning Talks. We have an exciting program of 7 short talks lined up for you today that represent the work that all our Google Summer of Code contributors have done over the summer. So my name is Sean, and I'm one of the org admins together with Hasitha and Sandeep. And we have been joined by a group of mentors who have been really awesome in helping mentor our contributors throughout their projects. And this talk is going to feature the different projects that each of them have been doing. So we have a questions board as well. I'm going to ping the link in the group chat. And you are very, very welcome to ask questions. This is a Slido link. So if you go to the app Slido link, you can ask questions and you can also vote up other people's questions. And at the end, we will take the questions in order as an open panel. You can ask questions to the entire group. For example, you can ask folks what they learned during the project or whatever, or you can also ask individual people about their projects. So please feel free to use it. It makes the talk more interactive, and I think it's kind of nice. So yeah. There's a message about leaving messages in the YouTube chat. Please ignore that. This is an old set of slides, and I forgot to delete that before this presentation. Actually, let me do this to make sure you have the newest version. Okay, cool. So yeah, the first project that we will be talking about is Justin Nguyen's project. Justin was mentored by Wojta Jelinek, and he will be talking about making the CI and pre-push hooks more efficient. So over to you, Justin. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Justin. Again, my main GSoC project was to make the CI and pre-push hook more efficient. And my main vendor was Wojta. Next slide, please. Oh, next slide. So the main background problem for the GitHub CI was that PRs opened in the Oppia web repository spent a lot of CI resources and time on the full suite of acceptance and Lighthouse tests. For the acceptance, I believe there's more than 20, and they take around 5 to 10 minutes each. And Lighthouse, 30 minutes each, 2 shards, so 30 minutes concurrent and 60 minutes total. And this results in slow feedback for developers. The other problem was the pre-push hook. The pre-push hook takes a long time to run, mainly because some tests like front-end unit tests run fully, which takes around 5 to 10 minutes. This also caused problems like the pre-push hook disconnecting for SSH users. The other problem was that the pre-push hook doesn't run any backend unit tests and change files, which results in easy errors getting pushed and developers waiting for feedback in a slow GitHub CI environment. Next slide. So what I did to fix this problem. For the first problem, the GitHub CI, I first created a dependency scraper for front-end files using the TypeScript and HTML AST, which is abstract syntax tree. Those are basically like the import clauses or div elements of a HTML file. These dependencies were then used to find the root files of each file. A root file is a file which is completely dependent on itself. Naturally, this turned out to be like Angular modules, since Angular modules are basically the core module or file of a page, which means nothing depends on it basically, or other miscellaneous files like readmes. I also created a test to Angular modules matcher script, which during a test runtime collects the Angular modules that are used. By mapping the URLs visited to Angular modules, it validates those collected modules against the golden file containing the most up-to-date mapping. Finally, I altered the existing acceptance and Lighthouse workflows to incorporate a new script, which first uses the root to files mapping generated using the script above. Then using the PR's change files, map them to their corresponding root files, and map those root files to the test that should be run. For the next problem, what I did for the pre-push hook was I first made the front-end unit test run on change files in the pre-push hook. Also introduced new flags like specs to run and run on change files and branch. The flag specs to run allows developers to specify specific front-end unit tests they want to run, and run on change files and branch allows the developer to run all change files like front-end tests in the current branch. This allows developers to quickly know if their front-end unit tests are passing or not. I also made a new backend test reporter, which shows all backend test times and also highlights any tests that are over 150 seconds. This is only run in the CI, and it's basically a new workflow that tells developers if any of their tests are long or not. I introduced a new backend unit test to the pre-push hook. So backend unit tests are run and change files whenever a developer pushes their code. Similarly to front-end unit tests, I also introduced new utility flags like test targets and run on change files and branch. Test targets concurrently runs backend unit tests that the developer specifies, and run on change files and branch runs all backend tests associated with change files and branch. I also made various backend optimizations on long backend tests to make sure that any backend tests aren't over 150 seconds. Next slide. Reflections and what I learned. I learned that deadlines are important and you should be doing things early as possible. I'm usually procrastinate, and this helped me learn that doing things before the deadline are very important. I also learned more about GitHub workflows and GitHub actions. I learned more about TypeScript ASTs. And finally, I learned more about backend unit tests.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Justin. This project makes the overall workflows faster for developers. So thank you very much for working on it over the summer and for presenting your work. Okay, and now we are going to go to Veer's project. So Veer Kotari was mentored by Kevin, and he's going to talk about the improvements that he's made for lesson creators on the Exploration Editor page. Veer?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Veer Kotari, and my mentor Kevin Thomas guided me on this project. Next slide, please. So the Exploration Editor page where our lessons are made, it had two main problems. For the translations, let's say a lesson has translations in 10 different languages, and someone, the lesson creator, accidentally published it as 1 plus 1 equal to 3, for example, and it has already been translated everywhere. Now he changes it to 2, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Since most other languages have the same numerals, the lesson creator can make the change themselves, right? But currently to do so, it is a very repetitive and tedious process. The same process needs to be followed 10 different times, and there is no single interface to update all languages at once. The second problem, for curated explorations, there have been cases in the past where feedback is missing. Even in cases where we know that a particular concept may result in a particular misconception for the learner. How do we know that? So lessons, curated explorations have something called skills that can be linked with them. Skills can be something like addition or subtraction, where we already know that some learner may have this particular misconception. But currently, even though skills have misconceptions, there is no way for lesson creators to see this. And as a result, they often go unaddressed. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for the translation issue, I made a convenient interface to update all the translations at once. Currently, when you update content that has already been translated, you have three options: to either remove them, mark them as outdated, or leave them as is. Now we will have another option to modify them. and modifying them is completely optional. You only have to modify languages that you're comfortable with. If you feel that you cannot make the change, then it will simply be marked as outdated, and the ones that are marked as outdated are sent for retranslations. Next slide, please. And for the misconceptions, if you are a question editor who has made questions for skills, then you might have noticed that we already have this functionality of being able to see the misconceptions and also tag the response groups, the feedback response groups, with the respective misconceptions. This was not there for the exploration editor, and I made it compatible for the exploration editor as well. So lesson creators will be able to see this list of misconceptions as well as tag them with the feedback groups. And in the future, we'll make it such that explorations cannot be published if a misconception is unaddressed, in order to provide the best experience for our learners and make sure that the best feedback is provided for them in any specific scenario. Next slide, please. So what I've learned over this project, I've definitely improved my debugging skills as I encountered unexpected problems when acceptance testing or anything. I became more familiar with writing backend tests and acceptance tests for different features. I gained more knowledge regarding the data store, writing state migrations, APIs, how they connect to the front end, and things like that. And project management, I learned how to plan better and deal with unnecessary delays, which might not always be your fault, uh, but is something you always need to look out for and make precautions for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Veer. And to all of you who've just joined us or recently joined us, I wanted to give you a very quick reminder that we will have a live Q&A after the talk. So please ask your questions on the Slido link. I've just put it in chat. But yes, congratulations, Veer, on making the experience better for creators and hopefully reducing a lot of the churn that's going on with translations as well. Uh, and so, yeah, now I'm happy to introduce you to Afzal, who is going to talk about multiple classroom support for web. Afzal was mentored by Nikita, and over to you.
So hi everyone, I am Afzal and this summer I worked on developing infrastructure for multiple classrooms with Nikita. Please next slide. So currently Oppia has a single math classroom page which is pretty much hard coded. Curriculum admins cannot create new classrooms or even update all of the properties of the existing math classroom. So uh, classroom provide a really great way for learners to learn a new subject in a structured manner. Next slide please. So the very first issue was from the admin side. Like the admin should be able to create new classrooms, change their order, and also update each of its properties. Like a classroom has banner, thumbnail, and a publication status. So earlier, when they create a new classroom, it's already like published. So multiple curriculum admins cannot work on new classrooms, but now they can work on a classroom asynchronously, add topics to it and keep it private. Once it's ready they can public it. Next slide please. So once the classroom is created, now we needed to make it available to learners. So we created couple of pages and couple of UI components which displays these multiple classrooms. So we also implemented routing for it. Earlier the routing was very hard coded, it only supported the math classroom, but now it works for any classroom. And we created a new classrooms index page which displays all the classrooms to the learner. Next slide please. So there were other places where we need to show these classrooms, like the navigation bar. Learners can quickly go to any classroom directly from the navigation bar, and in the learner dashboard also, they can keep track of their topics, like which topic they have completed, which topic is remaining in which classroom. And we have also implemented a carousel in community library page where we display all the classrooms. Next slide, please. So this project was very like full stack related, so I learned a lot of things, how APIs work, how we connect the front end to the back end. And one of the important things which I learned is time management and better planning. Like sometimes there are issues which are like not caused by you, so you also have to take that into consideration while planning. And other thing which I learned is I got better at writing code in Python and also learned Angular. It was quite new to me, and I improved at debugging a lot, and I guess I also improved at writing clean code. And this project involved a lot of testing, so I learned about testing as a whole, like unit test, acceptance test, and other things. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Abzal. And for those of you who want to know the bigger picture, the multiple classrooms project actually allows us to go beyond just creating classrooms. So this lays a very important foundation for that. So thank you very much, Abzal, and also for your presentation. And now I would like to introduce you to the corresponding project on Android, which was done by Saptak Mana, who will speak now.
Hi everyone, I am Shaptak Manna and my project was to introduce support for multiple classrooms on Android. I had the pleasure of being mentored by Adiyambo throughout this journey. Next slide please. Uh, Before my project, Oppia's homepage on the Android app featured a carousel of recommended stories followed by a list of mathematics topics. Users were limited to learning only mathematics topics without the option to switch to other subjects or classrooms. Next slide please. What I did was introduce support for multiple classrooms into the Android app's infrastructure. I implemented a new classroom list screen, which replaces the existing home screen. The key change is the new classroom carousel that allows users to switch between classrooms and dynamically updating the topic list based on the selected classroom. Uh, Additionally, the classroom carousel remains fixed at the top while users scroll through the topics. After exploring several technical approaches, we opted to introduce Jetpack Compose, Android's new UI toolkit, which enabled a simpler and more robust implementation of the sticky header. Next slide, please. Now on to what I learned. In general, I improved my communication skills, learned how to work in a more planned and organized manner, and became more responsible for the work I did. And on the technical side, I deepened my understanding on various core Android concepts, gained insights into dependency injection using Dagger, and learned several design patterns commonly used in Android, such as factory, builder, and adapter. This project was also my first time using Jetpack Compose, the new UI library. Additionally, I learned to build the app using Bazel and a shift from the traditionally used Gradle and expanded my knowledge on Lightning Test. Thanks, everyone. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Saptak, and congratulations. As mentioned just now, both Afzal's and Saptak's projects lay the foundation for being able to launch classrooms in both the Android and the web app that are not just mathematics. And that's something that our users have been asking us for. So stay tuned. Now, yeah, here's a quick reminder for those of you who have joined recently. We do have a Q&A forum at Slido. Please feel free to ask your questions there. You can ask questions for all the attendees, and you can also ask them for particular projects. And we'd love to answer them after the talk. And now we'll move on to the static page redesigns project by Akash, who was mentored by Harsh. The static page redesigns project involves updating a whole bunch of the static pages around the website, which were not really telling Oppia's story well. And I'm going to pass it on to Akash to speak more about this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Hello, everyone. I am Akash Palaja from India. I have worked on the static page redesigns project during my GSoC, and Harshodhan Singh is my mentor. Uh, next slide, please, Sean. Uh, Coming to the problem, what Oppia had earlier. According to the initial Oppia user research conducted by Oppia on the informational pages, these were the key problems the users face it. Most of the donors, partners, and volunteers face expected detailed information about Oppia's mission, vision, impact, teamwork and partner organization. And most of the parents and teachers had lack of found that there is lack of clarity on lesson creators credibility and the lesson creation process itself, and they also expected to have the appropriate age groups for the lessons. And coming to volunteers, they they were uncertain about the time commitments and skills required so that they can to contribute to Oppia effectively. Next slide, please. Help. Coming to what I did, I have completely redesigned the about page to include the detailed information about Oppia's vision, impact, history, target age group, team credibility, and partner organization. Here you can see the in the images. In the first image, you can see about the history of Oppia and the vision of Oppia. In the second image, you can see about the information about the partner organizations. In the third picture, you can see about the Oppia features about the Oppia platform and some information about the Oppia platform. In the fourth image, you can see the Oppia impact. It displays all the impact Oppia had over the years and about the user counts in the countries. Next slide, please. Uh, Coming to the volunteer page, I have included the volunteer expectations, roles, and commitment details in that page. Coming to the for parents and teachers page, I have fully redesigned that page. It now includes a section on lesson creators where you can see some of the lesson creators profiles, their like their name, country, and the profession, and you can go to their LinkedIn profiles from there. And I have added a section for lesson creation process. That section interactively explains the 6-step lesson creation process OPI uses. And I have added some testimonials, teacher testimonials, etc. etc. You can find out it soon. Next slide, please. Yeah, coming to what I learned from this GSoC journey. From in my professional growth, I have redesigned the 3 pages, but during this journey, I have learned the importance of web accessibility, how to make web pages more accessible, like like to disable persons with disabilities. We need to make web pages accessible to persons with disabilities also. And I have learned the importance of internationalization. Uh, Users from all over the world use Oppia for their learning. So it is very important for me to internationalize the web pages I have redesigned and put bear things in mind like catering language like Hebrew, which has layout from RTL, RTL layouts, etc. etc. And definitely I have made all the pages responsive. They support all the devices like mobile, tablet, laptop, etc. etc. Yeah, uh, I have learned how to write maintainable and readable code. My mentor helped me to achieve this and improve my skills on this area and to find the initial bugs. And in the next iterations, I have fixed all the bugs positively. Uh, Next slide, please. Yeah, coming to my personal growth. Yeah, I learned about the importance of communication skills. Yeah, they play a crucial role as we as OPI is a remote and open source project, and I have to work with people from different parts of the world. So communication skills played a crucial role here. uh, and I have improved myself in this communication skills. And coming to my next aspect, yeah, I found that we should ensure that we always have a plan B for anything we going to execute, because sometimes our plan A may fail and we may be in dilemma. So we need to think proactively and have a plan B every time. Yeah. After seeing my successful completion of GSoC project, I felt myself confident on my web development skills and project management skills. Uh, that's it about my project. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Sean.
That's really great. Congratulations, Akash, and what a wonderful project. I think many of you can actually see the updated pages on the website now because I believe some of them went out in the last release. So feel free to take a look. All right, and now we go back to Android with RD, who is going to talk to us about her project on code coverage, support, and enforcement. So RD, it's all yours.
Thanks, son. Hey everyone, I'm Hardy from the Oppia Android team, and we worked on a project called Code Coverage Enforcement. Can you go to the next slide, please? So it is a developer tool, and to understand the issue or project tries to solve, let's consider a typical developer workflow. So developers start by writing code to implement features or fixes. Then, to ensure our code performs as intended, we add test cases. Fantastic so far. But here's the catch. Are we really sure our test cases cover all the functionalities of our source code? What if there is a critical situation or a section we have overlooked and missed a test case for? What if an untested code gets merged and causes an issue later? We definitely don't want that to happen. And that's why we need something like a supervisor that can check our tests and say, hey, you missed that spot, or something like you didn't test that functionality. And that supervisor is called code coverage. Can you go to the next slide? So to see how the code coverage tool actually works in action with Oppia Android, starting from the left, every time now you create or push to a PR, the CI runs code coverage checks on your changes and publishes a coverage report as a comment on your PR. This report showcases the coverage status and percentages for the files included in your PR. While these comments shows a quick overview in the PR itself, to get a detailed analysis, you can use the local development command line interface presented in the right half to generate a detailed line by line HTML coverage report. This report highlights lines hit in green and those that are not covered in red, helping you identify the untested parts. Though code coverage doesn't guarantee code quality, it serves as a valuable metric and starting point for assessing code reliability and progressing towards safer automated deployments. And that's a brief overview of the project itself. And can you go to the next slide? And reflecting on the journey, I have four main things that I learned. And the first one is patience, a lot of patience, and a lot more patience. So the project involved configuring Bazel in the test suites itself and dealing with CI runs, which meant I spent more time waiting for the results than actually coding. But along the way, I learned to admire a frozen terminal screen, which is now very interesting to me, and in general, to be more patient in life. With points two and three, I have come to see that the real value lies in the subtle learnings from everyone in the community, from how they approach problems to how different people get involved and manage things in their spare time. I find these lessons to be more valuable than the technical stuff. And I guess that's a never ending learning journey where I still have a lot more to grasp. And finally, there has always been an emphasis from the community to ask more questions. And finally, I think I have checklisted it maybe a bit too much because I just now ask questions non-stop. And thanks to my mentors for bearing with all my questions, and as a whole to the community for a memorable experience. Thank you, and thanks, Sam.
Thank you very much, Adi. And yes, definitely always ask questions. They are absolutely welcomed in the community, and that's a great learning. So yeah, thank you for your work on code coverage, and we are going to the final project, acceptance test by Akhilesh, who was mentored by Christy. And Akhilesh, over to you.
Hi everyone. So my name is Akhilesh Kumar Yadav, and my project was acceptance test. So essentially means that I had to write a whole lot of acceptance tests, and I was mentored by Christy. So thank you so much, Christy. Could we please move to the next slide? So yeah, talking about the background or problem, it is the Oppia development team that perhaps decided that we need a whole suite of acceptance tests that for different types of user journeys that are different users, be it admin or learner or contributors, would actually experience. Now, acceptance test, which is also a type of E2E test, is something that we write from the end user perspective. So it was a great way to make sure that everything aligns with the user expectations. And also, it is something very good way to test that different components are working together in a sync, which is sometimes difficult to test with unit testing or whenever we are testing in isolation. So it is one of the thing. Of course, one of the goal was to detect the bugs on each of the PRs or on each of the commits, which would allow the developers to fix and not break any of the existing critical user journeys. So my project actually required to write these acceptance tests for all the critical user journeys that a learner and admin would experience. And also one of the part was to make sure that also one of the part was to ensure that with the acceptance test was that we can easily track these critical user journeys, which was not very much the case with the existing WIO tests, because therein we were essentially testing more or less a technical portions or pieces of the platform. So this is something which this was one of the things which also acceptance test probably would have helped in. Could you please move to the next slide? So what I did initially, or the first thing was which I did was to identify and document all different types of critical user journeys. I did this via looking into some of the existing documentation and going through the website. Altogether, we were able to find out 64 of them with the help of Sean and my mentor. And essentially, and initially, we did think that we'll be able to cover them all, but as we get into the as we continued with the project, we realized that it may be too much for me to be able to cover them all, and essentially eventually I did manage to cover 47 of them. So for the learner side, I covered all the user journeys which a logged out user would experience and a logged in user would experience. The catch here is that everything that these two would experience is only tested by the logged out user, and everything that is being experienced by logged in user only is something which would be tested in both of them, so as to ensure that it is only accessible to the logged in user and not accessible to the logged out user. We also tested the community library page, of course, in a critical user journey way. It's not as if we tested that page, but user journey. Similarly, we covered exploration player, learner dashboard, feedback update page, and there were many other pages. For the admin as well, we covered curriculum admin stuff, topic manager, release coordinator, site admin, moderator, and the moderator's critical user journey. And eventually, actually not eventually, with each PR, we included these acceptance tests into our GitHub workflow, so as to make sure that these tests, as they are written, they run for each of the PR that is raised on our GitHub repo or on our. Along with that, also we replaced the existing WDO tests. That was one of the goal, that we are able to remove the WDO tests, wherein which wherein we are able to provide the coverage with the acceptance tests, so that we can remove them. And also, I made sure that I do not leave any flakes for other developers to fix. So I made sure that any flake that appears on any of the acceptance tests that I would have written throughout the project is fixed by me only. Could we please move to the next slide? So what did I learn? Well, the first thing is, of course, that I was able to enhance my debugging skills, because that is something would require when I'm writing E2E tests. So that is something which I did manage to enhance significantly. Addressed test flakiness, of course, because it is could be fractious to all the time fix flakes. The best thing is to write tests which do not flake at all. So I did learn that as well. Improved coding skill, of course, because had to write reusable test code, everything else. So I didn't had much experiences with TypeScript, but I was largely into JavaScript. But turned out that I learned that as well to some extent. Learn to navigate and contribute to large code base. Yes, erstwhile I hadn't worked in such a huge and large code base. This was the very first experience and exposure to a code base which is so large. So it was one of its unique experience of working in a large code base where sometimes things might might look overwhelming. Uh, Enhanced understanding, yeah, those things are there. Gained insight into importance of thorough testing. Yes, this is something which is missed often when we are when I was learning the things. So it is something which I understood that the importance of the testing and the other stuff here. And so overall, I learned a lot of things around the quality assurance and the testing part. So yeah, thank you so much to the whole Oppia community, the org admins, and my mentors. Thank you so much, everyone, for this wonderful opportunity and stuff. Uh,
Yeah, sorry, had a bit of a problem with the mic. Okay, thank you very much, Akhilesh. That was awesome, and thank you for your presentation on the acceptance test, which hopefully will help with faster releases in the future and improve the quality assurance of the products. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of the presentation part of this session. I want to remind you all, and also tell those of you who are joining late, that we have a Q&A board. So please join us at the Slido, which will be coordinated by Hasitha, another of the GSoC admins. One of the things I want to mention again is you can ask questions about all the projects in general, or to the contributors. You can also ask questions about individual projects. Just as a reminder, the projects are Justin's project on making the CI and pre-push hooks more efficient, trying to speed up the pre-push workflows, especially and the CI workflows. Also, Via's project on improving the exploration editor page, making it easy to edit translations, for creators to edit translations if they change the lesson, as well as adding misconceptions support to the exploration editor. We've got multiple classroom support for web by Abzel, and also multiple classroom support for Android by Subtak, both of which allow the introduction of the new science and financial literacy and so on classrooms. We've got static page redesigns by Akash, which involve updating the volunteer pages, the about pages, and so on to talk about Oppia better and convey what it is. We've also got code coverage by RD, which improves the code coverage situation for the Android project. And we have acceptance tests by Akhilesh, which helps with making the Oppia code base more stable, so that QA will hopefully find fewer issues and we can get releases out faster to the general public. But yeah, with that summary, please feel free to ask any questions you have on the Q&A board. Oh, we have a few already. That's awesome. And I'm going to pass it over to Akhilesh, who's also the org admin for GSoC, to take over the Q&A session. Hasita?
Yeah, hi, thank you, Sean. Hi, everyone. I'm Hasita. I'm also one of the GSoC org admins for this year, and alongside with Sean and Sandeep. So let's go through these questions. The first one is, when are the new classrooms going to be released to production? So that might be a question for Sean. Okay. So,
okay, well, I'll have a go at answering it. So, in order to release the new classrooms for science and financial literacy and so on to production, there are multiple components, right? We've got to do the technical work for it so that we can release them. But in addition, we've actually also got to develop the lessons for them and make sure they are complete enough as an offering. I mean, they don't have to be fully complete, but they should be substantial enough so that you don't end up with a new classroom that only contains like one topic. So I think Anu, sorry to put you on the spot, but are you on the call? Anu is our lead for science and financial literacy. She may be able to say something about it. Would you like to?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So, to answer the question, we're hoping that by mid September, the lessons are going to be held for science and financial literacy. Does that answer your question?
Well, it was anonymous, so I'm not sure whether whether you can respond to that. But thank you very much, Anu. So yeah, we'll be getting the lessons out, and it's really nice that the technology work is already done, so that hopefully it can all get released without any issues. It will probably be a bit later than September, mainly because we need to do some testing, right? We need to just verify that everything works correctly and so on, and testing can take a little time. So I think on the web it should be released sooner, probably by the end of the year, if not earlier. And on Android, it may take a little bit longer to bring the lessons there because the issue that we have with the Android app is that we currently bundle the lessons together with the app. And so if we stick in all the science and financial literacy lessons at once, the app size may get too big and it may not fit on people's phones anymore. So we'll have to sort of like figure out how exactly to do that. And one thing that we are thinking about is a download system that allows people to download the lessons that they want. But that's something that we need to plan through. So it's something I have to discuss with Ben and the Android team to figure out what lessons we can support, because I think that is absolutely a question that the Android app users have given us feedback on. They want more lessons besides math. So we may have to think about how to, what's the best way to get them there at least to start with. So yeah, thank you for the question.
Okay, let's move to the next one. The second question is, will you all still plan to participate in the open source community after GSoC? This might be a question for all contributors. Any volunteers that would like to answer this question? Yeah, Kilesh?
Yeah, of course. I think I'm already plan to join dev workflow as a team lead, so we probably will be. So I of course plan to work with Oppia. I'm already there to work along with Oppia for long now. That's the case with me. I'm not sure about others though.
That's great to hear. And anyone else have any thoughts about this? Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, I guess it's like a great opportunity to fix softwares which you use or you would like to improve in general. And I guess I've already decided like what I want to learn next. So definitely I will be contributing.
Next we have Veer.
Yeah, definitely. With an organization that has a mission like Oppia's, for sure. I am also a lead of the dev workflow team now, and I'm also joining the release team as a release coordinator.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, anyone else? Yeah, RD.
I think at this point, Oppia Android has become a nice friend's home where I can find myself being more comfortable towards the projects and the community. And I would love to, but the frequency of the work would definitely be different than how I did with GSoC. But the community and the meetings will be hard to be without at this point.
Yep.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to continue my contributions to Oppia and improve the platform and my learning while doing so.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Akash. Anyone else? Okay, I think that's about it. Yeah, actually, I was also a GSoC student a couple of years ago, and then I also able to mentor, and then now I'm a GSoC organ. Yeah, it's been a great journey. So, next question: which classrooms are scheduled for release after science and financial literacy? This might be also for a question for Sean also.
We are not sure yet. Let's get science and financial literacy out first, and then we'll think about the rest. I mean, we have some ideas, for things like digital literacy, social, emotional skills, English, right? Just basic English literacy. But we need to think a little bit about how to teach those things well before we venture into that. So I think our plan is to finish what we already started, and then see where the needs in the ecosystem are and help as much as we can.
Okay, thank you. The next question: how did you balance schoolwork and GSoC? This might be also for every contributor. Anyone like to start with this? Yeah, sir, go ahead.
So like I'm really glad that my school support these things like internships and if you're doing projects. So there is no attendance rule for those students. So it was like pretty easy for me to manage GSOC and school.
Okay, thanks, Absal. Anyone else?
Yeah, uh, we are glad that most of the GSOC part was during my summer break. So I have completed most of my work during my summer break and then went to college. So it was easy for me.
Okay, thanks, Akash. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, if that's it, then we can move to the next question. We're releasing new classrooms, delay the launch of new math content. Again, I think Sean, you can answer this.
I don't think so, because the new classrooms like science and financial literacy are being worked on by a different team than the team that's working on math classrooms. So I don't really see a reason for one to delay the other. We do still plan to complete the math lessons, and then turn our focus to improving them based on feedback.
Thanks. Next question. What was the hardest part of each of your projects? I think we can have a round of answers from our contributors. Um, Anyone else would like to volunteer? Afsar? Yep.
Yeah, sure. So I guess the hardest part for me was planning the deadlines. Like for some deadline, I allotted a lot of time, and for others, I allotted like a very less time, 2 days, 3 days. So finding out like how many days will a task take was really hard for me.
Okay. Justin, would you like to answer?
Similarly, I had a hard time like managing my deadlines and making sure that everything was submitted on time. And particular to my project, it was probably backend test optimizations because I have little knowledge of that.
Okay, thanks. Saptak, would you like to answer as well?
Yes, so the hardest part of my project, I would say, introducing Jetpack Compose to the code base, because this was my first time using the new UI framework. Yep.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else would like to give any thoughts?
Yeah, I would like to add something. Uh,
Yeah, go ahead,
the
Akash.
project management thing was also been bit tough for me. And coming to my specific project, I would say the user count graphs on the about page was time taking and hard part for me, since it was since for that I need to add new package for Oppia repo. Then I would, and the next part would be writing acceptance test for my project. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Akash. Anyone else like to answer? Okay, RD.
I think the hardest part for mine was, as I said, I had a long wait time. But other than that, in general, not having the superpower to see the future clearly, seeing the entire flow of the project right from the start has kicked me many times as I had to redo a lot of things again. I have picked up lessons, so next time I'll plot out every detail before coding, or alternatively, I'm thinking of requesting a time travel project for GSoC 25. Please consider the later one. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Akhilesh?
Yes, I think the hardest part for my project was largely the long time wait, of course, and the second thing was to fix the acceptance test on CI, wherein it was not failing on local, but it is only failing on CI, and it is slightly more difficult to fix it on CI because there are less way to figure out what is actually causing that failure. So it was the hardest part to fix the failing test on CI, which is not failing on local. So yeah, this was the most difficult part.
Okay, thanks. Veer, would you also like to answer the question?
Yeah, sure. The hardest part of my project, I would say, was also writing acceptance tests, and mainly my first PR of second milestone. It got delayed by 2 weeks due to reviews and needing a state migration and other things, which was very unexpected. So I would say that was the most difficult time.
Okay, thank you. I think all have answered that question, and we can move to the next one. The next question: how can I level up from GSoC candidate this year to a mentor at the next GSoC? Yeah, think I can answer this one because I was also a GSoC candidate and then got the chance to be a mentor. So I kept contributing to the community, and then obviously you might get a chance if you like to mentor and if you have good skills and you contribute to the community and yeah, something like that. Sean, would you like to answer that one as well?
So when you say GSoC candidate, I'm not sure whether it's some in the question. I'm not sure whether it's a GSoC current, GSoC contributors finish a project, or whether it's a GSoC, someone who applied for GSoC. Mohit, did you want to say something? Maybe not. Okay. Yeah, if you're a GSoC contributor this year, you will get a question about this in the survey. And if you have interest, we'll talk to you. If you are a GSoC applicant, then we do select mentors from other people in the Oppia community in general. But we recommend that you definitely get some experience, doing issues in the community, in the project, and so on, because one of the things that you'll need in order to mentor is understanding about how the Oppia platform and the Oppia coding stack works. So it's important to get enough experience on that so that you can then mentor others. So yeah, hopefully, regardless of which category you're in, this helps answer the question. Mohit, did you want to say something? You've got your hand raised. Okay, I'm not sure. Sorry, Hasita.
Yeah, okay. We can go ahead then. And next question: is there any way to suggest project ideas for next GSoC edition? Sean.
Well, feel free to email the org admins for now. That's me, Hasita, and Sandeep. We haven't started the planning for the next GSoC edition yet. We are trying to wrap up the current one. But maybe start with that, and we'll make sure it gets to the right people. So that's all I can tell you for now, because we haven't figured it out yet ourselves. But at some point, one of the things we are going to do is to just organize what you're doing on the technical side and figure out what projects are good ones to be GSoC ones. So yeah, just let us know. Probably earlier the better.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Next question: is it a good idea to develop a prototype of your project before submitting a proposal? Yeah, I can add some thoughts for this. So before start writing the proposal, we obviously need to contribute to the code base. Try to start with good first issues and try to get into a project team and then try to solve some bugs and try to implement small new features, then obviously you would get experience on how to work in the Oppia, and then you would probably able to write a proposal on the project you contribute to. Then I think actually you do not need to do a prototype, but you need to write a strong proposal. Sean, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I would agree completely with what Hasita said. I've seen sometimes people do a prototype of their project, but not actually look at the Oppia code base at all. So it's this sort of like a random project that kind of has this big question mark about how it's actually even going to be integrated in the code base. So I think I wouldn't focus, similar to what Hasita said, I wouldn't focus on developing a prototype of your project. I'd focus on doing good first issues, getting into a team, solving problems and being able to solve them well. And then in terms of developing a prototype, maybe it's useful enough so that you can get an understanding of the technical complexities of whatever project you're applying for, right? I think that's where a prototype might be useful so that you can actually really understand it and provide a coherent proposal that actually addresses the issues. So it may help you get an understanding of your own project, but it's not at all a requirement and not even necessarily recommended, right? I wonder whether the GSoC contributors have any advice on this. Do any of you want to weigh in on that? Like in your experience applying, did you all develop prototypes of your projects before submitting your proposals? Yeah, Afza.
Yeah, I guess it's better if you explore the code base. Don't think about the project for now. Just fix some easy issues and spend some time with the code base. Then make the proposal.
Okay, I think we can move to the next question. Yeah. For the GSoC contributors, what part in the process would like to see improve for the next round? I think we can. I think the contributors can answer this. Yeah, sir. Go ahead.
I guess the process is very structured, but I feel we can use the community bonding period a lot more. Like we can invite the other GSO contributors and ask for their experiences, like what issues they faced, and have a meeting with the new contributors and old ones, so they can learn from their experiences.
Okay, thanks, Afsal. Akash?
Uh, yeah, I also had the same idea.
Okay.
Uh,
Veer, do you have any thoughts?
No, not really. But mainly, I think when submitting the proposals, when we create the draft proposals, maybe we could have a more systematic way. Because I've seen sometimes someone will submit a draft proposal and it will get reviewed after a week or something, which is not ideal, you know. But besides that, I think everything's good.
Okay, thanks. Justin?
Nothing else to add. I think, like others said,
Okay, thanks. Akhilesh?
Uh, I think it was all good for me.
Okay, great. Saptak?
Same as well. I think I did not have any issues and it was all good for me.
Okay, finally, RD?
Same, I think the current way GSoC and OPI is structured is by itself very well put together, and I don't think anything will need a change.
Okay, thanks. I think we can move to the next question. Since Oppia Android did not participate in GSoC 23, what is Oppia Android's plan for GSoC 25? This might be a question for Sean. And
Well, this might be a question for Ben.
yeah, Ben.
Is Ben on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. So I think fundamentally, we absolutely would like to participate. Historically, what the issue has been for Oppia Android is just it's been hard to find mentors. Um, and really, our ability to participate in GSoC has a lot less to do with finding projects and more with just having people mentor them. So like if our two soon-to-be former GSoC participants this year, if they want to mentor, that would certainly help. But yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to is if we can find mentors, and that's something that we're actively looking into, and probably we'll start looking around for people as soon as planning starts for 2025. But I can't share like any sort of definitive yes or no until we can confirm that we have people to support the projects.
Okay, thanks, Ben. I think that's it for now. Q&A.
Yeah, I think so. Well, thank you very much, GSoC contributors, for the awesome work you've done this summer. I hope you've learned a lot and grown your skills and become improve your skills at software engineering. But not only that, but also teamwork and other things. But I hope most of all that you're proud and happy about the work that you've done over the summer as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to share your projects with the community. Thank you everyone in this call for attending. It's really awesome to see everyone come out and support our GSoC contributors. And we look forward to seeing you all next year. So thank you all and have a lovely Sunday and a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.